No matter who you are, everyone can benefit from increasing their productivity. But with so many things out there that promise to save our time, it can be challenging figuring out what's actually worth it. So I thought in this video I'd go over 10 items that I find to be absolutely essential if you're somewhat serious about increasing your productivity. This is something that literally all of us probably have in our cupboards in some shape or form, but with so many other things to think about, it's easy to forget how crucial hydration is to our productivity. The simple act of drinking water increases brain function, boosts mental clarity, and benefits our overall health. So it should probably be pretty high up on our priority list. However, I'll be the first to admit that I regularly ignore the fact that I'm thirsty, by usually mistaking it for hunger or by simply masking it with food. According to the US National Academies of Science, Engineering and Medicine, it's recommended that men and women drink approximately 3.7 and 2.7 litres a day respectively, which is equivalent to 15.5 and 11.5 cups each and every day. I've recently been keeping this old 1250ml jug on my desk, which helps me know that as long as I aim to drink around 3 of these a day, I'm going to be in a good place both physically and mentally. But if you're regularly finding yourself out and about, you could just as easily switch this up with a decent water bottle, or if you prefer drinking hot water like my mum does, use a thermally insulated flask instead. One of the most minimalist and productive things you can do is have one item that fulfills the function of several in order to save time, money, and space. And the one item that has always done this for me regularly is a pair of black runners. With the cold and wet English weather, I find that there's nothing worse to turning up to a destination in soggy socks. So the last thing that I wanted from the ultimate versatile and comfortable pair of black running shoes is water resistance, which is why I love these particular Gore-Tex Nikes. I've pretty much lived in black running shoes for the past several years because they go with pretty much everything. They ensure there's one less thing to think about when leaving the house and leave me with a lot fewer shoes to find space for and organise. Unless you're really serious about a certain sport or activity, one comfortable and discreet pair of black runners will probably do the trick for almost everything except weddings, which means that you can put more of your hard-earned cash into enjoying one high-quality pair that you really love rather than several that you don't. In the morning, I generally want to get to work as quickly as I can, as that's when I'm the most productive. For a lot of people, this means eating a quick bowl of cereal, but if you're trying to cut back on refined carbs and dairy, owning a blender can be game-changing. I'm not particularly excited by vegetables, so it's an effortless way to eat a bunch first thing by throwing in a bunch of spinach or kale and a handful of frozen fruits and seeds. The one we use is pretty big and powerful as we use it for our entire family, but you can easily get by with just a tiny one and still get great results. I find that blenders not only save time, but they're an easy way to improve your diet and health too, as there's not really much point in being productive if you're not going to be around long enough to enjoy any of your accomplishments. I love coffee, but I frequently find myself dreading how long it takes to make. Some people really enjoy the ritual of pour-overs, and I get it if you have the time, but right now, I'd personally just rather spend it in bed. What's great about the Aeropress is that you don't need a bunch of fancy coffee paraphernalia to get a consistently good brew. It simply tastes great and comes out exactly the same pretty much every time. Just dump in a scoop of coffee, pour in 80-degree water, stir, brew, and press. For my particular needs, this just smashes the taste to convenience sweet spot, while giving me the morning caffeine pickup that I so desperately need. I may still occasionally bust out the V60 if I'm making a pot of coffee for a group of people, but for now, this saves my time and energy for other things. I read a tweet the other day that said 90% of success is not getting distracted. So if you work at a desk, you most definitely need a pair of distraction cancelling machines. These are the Bose NC700s, but noise cancelling headphones of any kind are not only comfortable, but they sound amazing, whilst blocking out ambient noise and functioning as the perfect do not disturb sign. I put off buying a decent pair for ages, but now that I have them, I'd buy them again in a heartbeat, as I find myself using mine all the time for things like editing, making calls, working out, gaming, and almost anything that requires my ears, just because they sound and feel so good, all whilst helping me stay on top of important tasks without getting distracted. One final thing that I'll also add is that these have a pass-through setting for when you do want to hear what's going on around you, something that regular headphones just can't do. This essentially makes you feel like you're not wearing headphones at all, almost making your music or audio sound like it's playing through a pair of speakers, which is something that I think is incredibly underrated. Apart from doing most of my reading through audiobooks, the next best thing is reading them on a Kindle. Now, I know there's something romantic about hard copies, but I personally just don't think that they're worthwhile for the amount of space that they take up. Reading on a Kindle is something that's easy to get used to because of the matte screen, and because it's digital, all of your books are now searchable, which is something that you just cannot do with hard copies. And that's something that's especially useful if you're constantly referencing material, like I am with my YouTube videos. By condensing your entire library into something that can fit in a jacket pocket, you can have something to read wherever you go, and even if you decide not to bring it with you, your library is also available on your computer or your mobile device. So seeing as our productivity is just as much about gaining knowledge as it is our actions, ebooks and audiobooks are something that I wouldn't ever want to be without. Like with water, when you don't get enough sleep, you make poorer decisions and reduce your ability to react and think clearly, all whilst reducing your immunity and increasing the chances of things like high blood pressure, diabetes and strokes, and simultaneously sabotaging your entire mood, appearance and mental health. And if you're going to be performing at the top of your game, you have to be taking care of your sleep, which is why I've included a pillow on this list. I don't know about you, but I cannot stand sleeping on pillows that are so firm that they make your head sore, or so soft that your head sinks right into them. I find shredded memory foam pillows like this one are the best bang for your buck in terms of comfort, but if you're sleeping okay as it is, you probably don't need to think about upgrading your pillow too much. However, some other things that you can consider for a better night's rest would be ensuring that your room stays pitch black and making sure that the temperature stays around 19 degrees by using a room thermometer and blackout blinds. And then for unwanted sounds, using something like an air purifier or a fan for white noise helps to reduce the chances of birds, traffic or housemates waking you up. The real secret of doing anything well is clear preparation through having a thorough understanding of what it is that you need to do and doing it well. For this reason, I cannot function properly without some kind of planner open on my desk. It allows you to see your entire week at a glance along with any other important scribbles that you've noted along the way, which is invaluable to me as there's honestly nothing worse than that horrible feeling when you know that you need to do something but you can't remember what it is. So by having a planner, it gives you a place to dump everything that's on your mind and then have the ability to schedule it in order that it gets done. After experimenting with various formats, I found this one from Moleskine to be the best. Not only because it looks and feels great, but the ruled page for scribbles and the structured calendar format makes it incredibly easy to reference from, as you can easily find all of the things that you've done over the past few months as it's laid out week by week. Also, because it's physical and not digital, it's completely distraction proof, as there's no way that you can accidentally turn it off. And I also find that the action of making marks on paper somehow seems to help with my mental clarity and causes things to stick in my memory that little bit longer. Anyone who's into productivity knows about the Pomodoro technique, and this really is a superpower when it comes to getting things done, especially if you're frequently subjected to procrastination and distraction like I am. The reason that this technique is so useful is because of Parkinson's law, which is the principle of how tasks expand and contract depending on the time that you allocate to them. So whenever I'm feeling a bit sluggish, a timer rescues me out of the slump without fail, and I absolutely would not be anywhere near as effective without one. The Pomodoro technique is actually named after those tomato-shaped timers that you find in kitchens, so by grabbing one of those and putting it on your desk, it's a great way to combat procrastination. For me, however, I don't really think that it would go with my setup, so I've settled on propping my phone up at my desk with its timer facing me. Lastly, this one is catered to what I do for a living, but really you can easily apply this idea to any profession or craft. In my case, I make videos, so the camera that I use is crucial and determines how effective I am at getting things done. If you're a graphic designer, this might be a tablet or a color accurate monitor, or if you're a chef, it might be a set of high quality pans and knives. But whatever you do to find fulfillment, having the tools that increase quality and reduce friction are 100% worth the investment if you're looking to compete at the highest level, as that's really what's going to help the most in terms of getting you one step closer to your goals. For what I need, this Sony a7S III has pretty much flawless autofocus, so I'm no longer finding myself out of focus when it comes to editing. And it also has amazing colour and low light performance, which has drastically reduced the noise and improved the colour accuracy of my videos. I realise that this is quite an expensive setup, but you can get pretty amazing quality on almost any budget these days, as long as you do your research. But of course, you can have the best equipment in the world and all of the things on this list, but if you don't have the know-how and experience, it doesn't really count for much. So in case you're interested in making YouTube videos like I am, you may be interested in today's sponsor Skillshare, where the legend himself, Marques Brownlee, has released his new course on YouTube success. I've been using Skillshare for a while now, as it's a perfect online learning community for creative and curious people. And it's loaded with thousands of inspiring classes where you can explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in a world of creativity by checking out classes on a wide range of topics, from YouTube to baking or painting to coding. I like that Marques reveals his entire process in this course, all the way from planning to editing, and I was relieved to see that apart from the crazy robots, his process isn't really too far from what I've been doing with my own videos. Skillshare is less than $10 a month with an annual subscription, and the first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description below will get a free trial of premium membership. And because Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, there are no ads, and they're always launching new premium classes, so you can stay focused and follow wherever your creativity takes you. At heart, I'm a curious designer, so I can't help but appreciate all of the items in this video, because they're all just really well designed. But really, as with all of our possessions, they are just tools at the end of the day. And it's the love for the craft and our real core values that matter the most when it comes to any kind of fulfillment, which is something that material possessions and even superhuman productivity simply cannot buy. Either way, I hope you just enjoyed or were interested in seeing how I reduce friction in my life with these items. And if you did, make sure to drop a like and check out my other similar videos like the one I made on kitchen essentials or my matte black everything EDC. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.